Welcome back, welcome home. Today we're talking about CITYFHEPS. So landlords, tenants, and potential home buyers, stay tuned, this one is for you. CITYFHEPS, it's a rental assistance supplement that can help individuals and their families find and keep housing. Think of Section 8, very similar. It's administered by the New York City Department of Social Services, which is comprised of the Human Resources Administration and the Department of Homeless Services. Right now, CITYFHEPS can be used by a person to either rent a room or to rent an apartment. And it's one major way it differs from Section 8, besides like funding streams and who's technically in charge, is that it's only administered by the Department of Social Services of New York City. With Section 8, there could be Section 8 administered by HPD or DHCR or NYCHA. Now, what are the benefits of CITYFHEPS? Now, to let you know a little bit more about CITYFHEPS, and to paraphrase from HRA's website, there's a couple of big things that you should know. First thing, landlords, you'll like to hear this. And this is just me paraphrasing from HRA's website. It provides the first month's rent upfront plus 3 additional months of the rental supplement upfront when a lease is finally executed and a tenant's ready to move in. The potential to receive 4 months rent upfront. This only applies to new apartments. So if someone is renewing their lease, it's a no-go. We're talking about new apartments. But let's give you numbers. For example, if an apartment is being rented for $2,500, correct? And CITYFHEPS or CITYFHEPS plus some other city agency is covering the entirety of the tenant's rent, you're gonna be getting a check of $10,000. That'll be first month's rent plus those 3 additional months that the city is responsible for up front when the tenant's going to be moving in. All right. Second thing to note, these monthly rental assistance payments can last for up to 5 years as long as the tenant's still eligible to be in the program and the unit still meets the requirements of the program, right? Those important things to note. It can be extended past those 5 years in some cases. So it's not an automatic shut off. It really will depend. Third thing, there is a unit hold incentive. Landlords love to hear this. Because the city will be processing the package and that may take some time, a landlord may receive a 1-month unit hold incentive for holding that apartment while the packet is being processed. And fourth thing, a security voucher is provided in lieu of security deposit. Now let's talk about the process. Let's say we found a tenant and you're like, oh, this person is great, I can't wait for them to move in, they have the CITYFHEPS voucher. What's the next step? So, as your realtor, first thing I'm gonna do is submit what's called a pre-clearance. This is just registering your apartment with the city to let them know you want to participate in the program. This city is gonna check to make sure there's nothing that disqualifies this unit from being involved in the CITYFHEPS program. So that's gonna be step 1. A pre-clearance can take about a week or so to come back. So it's essential to get it submitted as soon as possible because things really can't move forward until the pre-clearance is submitted and it's passed by the unit is passed by the city, right? Next thing is, tenant usually gets a packet from their housing specialist, a few different forms that need to be completed, and there's some additional documentation that's going to need to be provided to the housing specialist. As a realtor, I already know what documents are going to be needed. I have them myself, so we are going to get those things completed right away and get all the supporting documentation that we need, including a fully executed lease to provide to the housing specialist. They're going to take that whole packet and have it ready when it's time to submit to the city. Next thing, and this is the one that trips people up the most in my humble opinion, is the inspection. Okay. So when you're going to be going through this program, when you have a tenant who has this program, there's going to be an inspection. Section 8 has an inspection, FHEPS has an inspection, there's gonna be an inspection. You just gotta move forward with it. Things to note, either the inspection will be in person or virtually, right? Depends. I prefer doing it in person because it provides more context and nuance, and inspectors can really make sure that everything is the way it needs to be. And I, for example, as a realtor, would be there at the inspection. You don't need to be there as the owner, or the tenant. What I always recommend people is have your realtor do a pre-inspection of the unit to make sure there are no issues, at least that we're aware of. An inspector, of course, will go into more detail, but we kind of want to prevent anything from being flagged or being an issue. If something is found, it will need to be corrected, and then a re-inspection will need to be done in order for the application packet to be submitted and ultimately approved. Make sure things go as seamlessly as possible. Have your realtor do a pre-inspection. I do them all the time. And make sure that those issues that are found at that pre-inspection are addressed before the inspection. Depending on what floor your unit's on will determine who needs to be sent out. It will either be an inspector from the Department of Homeless Services, or it'll be the housing specialist / caseworker that's working with the tenant. So like, let's say if it was a first floor unit, basement, attic, we already know it's going to be an inspector from DHS. They're coming. If it's a second floor apartment, third floor apartment, a lot of times it'll be the housing specialist or the caseworker. After we've passed the inspection, which again, depending on who's coming for the inspection and when, it might take a week or so to get that done. We're gonna have the caseworker / housing specialist submit the fully completed packet for approval. So once they submit it, days, maybe a week or so before we hear back on the packet. Once we hear back and the city says yes, it's approved, then they'll get all the payments processed. So remember, that could be up to 4 months of rent plus a unit hold incentive, and that'll be cash plus the security voucher. The broker's fee is covered through the program, so the tenant doesn't have to worry about that. The landlord don't need to worry about that either. The tenant can get the keys, you'll get your checks. The city will be paying you on a monthly basis. The tenant may also have a share to pay depending on the situation, and you take things from there. And now the last thing to note, for more information on this program, check out the link below. If you're looking for qualified tenants, fill out the intake form below. We have plenty of tenants always looking for an apartment, and I'd be glad to connect with you to find someone that's a great fit. Third thing, any questions about the CITYFHEPS program, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to help. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.